everything you could have dreamed of for your son?
Unbelievable, isn't it?
Come closer to the mic, Dad.
It's more attractive and beautiful than Queen Mary, actually.
Really, yes.
I've gone more than once, yes. It's absolutely marvellous.
You, within seconds of being on the radio, you've mentioned the fact that you can afford to go on the Queen Mary. That's,
Thanks to your generosity, Steve.
yeah, well, no, absolutely, thank you. And well, that's wonderful. And maybe we'll get your opinion on other, perhaps the new music as the show goes on. I know you're a big fan of the new music, Dad. You're endlessly seeking out. Is it true that when you listen to the show at home, you fade down during the records? Yeah.
Some of them, yeah.
Some of them, okay. Well, never mind. Well, another round of applause for them. You know, if it weren't for them, the world would be a poorer place, wouldn't it? Because it would mean I didn't exist. And imagine such a thing. Imagine such a horrible, gloomy, existential, dark world without some of the joy we've brought into it. So yes, here we are. What a wonderful Christmas show. Pre-Christmas show this is. Let's have some more music, Jude, before we find out how these people are and what's been going on. Play a record. That's a new solo project by Field Music's David Brewis, and the band are called School of Language, and the single is called Rockist. And there we are. It will be out from their forthcoming album, See From Shore, which is out 4th of February next year. It's a Steve Show, BBC Six Music with me, Stephen Merchant. Thank you very much indeed for tuning in. Some big news in the world of Super Posh Rufus. He's told me what it is. I'm thrilled for him. I'm going to throw it open now to the gang here. Any ideas what the big news is, Harry?
Well, I've scribbled down 3 that I think it could be.
Okay.
There's the obvious, Mrs. Up the Stick.
is your Mrs. Up the Stick? It's a wonderful, wonderful thing.
It's charmingly put, Harry.
Yeah.
The answer's no.
Okay, number 2 I've got, taking over from Stephen Fry as the new face of Twining's Tea.
That would be brilliant.
Would. I was a heavy pencil, but it didn't. It went away, as my agent.
We don't know your Mrs. isn't up the stick. I mean, you know, who knows?
Yeah,
I don't know.
she
It's always worth checking
You know, if you
every
came
day.
in drunk last night, who knows what happened?
we don't know what she's doing right now.
Yeah.
The third one is your hair had a flop off against Hugh Grant's hair, and your hair won.
Again, that's not true, but you know, maybe it will one day be true.
Oh, that's
So,
it. I'm out.
Twinings. I wouldn't mind going for that gig. Twinings.
I can see you advertising tea, Steve, because
Yeah.
you're quite a comfortable kind of English celebrity now.
Thank you.
A warm personality that people kind of like to cuddle up next to.
Do you think so?
I think so, in a way. You know, there's nothing hostile or threatening about your celebrity.
Sure. I'm avuncular.
Yeah, exactly. In the same way that Alan Davies is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
someone like
Yeah,
that.
perhaps Alan Titchmarsh.
Yes, exactly. All the Allens.
Exactly.
They're all great.
So none of those are right. Wife not up stick, floppy hair, Twinings. None of that's going on.
Twinings
Sammy,
contract not come through.
what do you think the big news is in Rufus's life?
Rufus very generously said I could use his pen. So I'm guessing it might have something to do with money if he's willingly able to proffer stationery in such a way. So I was going to say a big campaign. I think you may be the voice of something. You've got a good voice. Or a part in a film.
A part in a film?
If this was through the keyhole, that might have got a round of applause from
Oh,
the
I got a
audience.
smatter. Marvellous.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so maybe it involves either the voice of something or a part in a film. One of the two.
Jude's
okay,
looking-
Jude, shout it out. You're not on the mic.
I had got a big film, and I got a long-running part in the bill after the cameos you filmed this week.
So did you say big film? Part in big film? Is
Big
that what you
film,
said?
another bit of a
Ooh,
clap.
I think that's a little round of applause.
Yeah.
Dad, any ideas what Rufus's big news might
I
be?
don't want to say anything because I know what it is.
Oh, you know what it is already? Okay.
okay.
Well, maybe you should just give away this big news.
Well, my big news is I've got a part in the new James Bond movie.
What about that? That's better than your wife being up the duff. Your wife to be, I should say. I do apologise.
Yeah.
Yes, a part in the new James Bond film. Can you say anything?
I can't talk about the plot or anything. Not that I know a huge amount. But I'm playing a kind of a Treasury agent, Foreign Office grunt who.
Are you quite posh?
Yeah, I think we can reliably.
This is going to be a stretch.
Yeah. But I've got a scene with Judi Dench and Daniel Craig.
Oh, lovely, lovely,
Will
Judy.
Craigie have his shirt off again? Isn't that all he did in the last film? as far as I
Yeah,
can
he
tell?
did. Maybe I'll take mine off. I don't know.
Ooh, the round round of applause. And so you can't say too much, but is it? It's you hand over a folder or file?
It's similar to my last appearance in a big blockbuster.
Yeah, you were of course in the Robert Redford film Spy Game, an excellent film if you've not seen it, and you appear briefly in there and hand Robert Redford a folder. Is that right?
Yes, and we have a brief dialogue about whether or not you can smoke in the CIA headquarters anymore.
Can you?
Apparently not.
Oh,
my
okay.
character tells him.
Interesting.
And in this, I have a similarly kind of minor amount of information to impart to M.
Right. Is it
but,
vital plot information, or could you hit the cutting room floor?
That's what I'm terrified of. I think it's pretty vital, and I'm staking my reputation as a super posh actor that it will stay in the final cut.
Great.
The film is as yet unnamed. Bond 22 is how it's being referred to.
Okay, yeah.
So hitting your screen sometime in 2009, I would imagine.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So we are all
Can we all go to the premiere?
I'll see what I can do. Yeah.
That's a huge thrill. Let's have another little round of applause as we congratulate that. I don't think anyone's going to have news. Sammy, up the duff?
As I know, no.
Currently, you're not aware that you are.
I'm not aware, but with it being so close to Christmas, who knows what could happen?
Exactly. So you've just had a recent wild 21st.
I was going to say more, a virgin birth, but if you want to go that...
Yeah. Oh, I was thinking, she's from the north of England. You were thinking, I might be the mother of the next Christ.
You've got to set your sights high, Steve.
Absolutely, clearly. I wish we could talk more about the fact that you might be giving birth to the Messiah, but sadly I have probably a slightly annoying musical choice from Harry.
Yeah, they get in the way, don't they? This week I've got something by the Chills, who are a New Zealand band. They've been going since about 1980, revolve around the maverick pop genius of a guy called Martin Phillips. They've only released about 6 records, and they're very hard to find, but this is off their album called Soft Bomb, and it's called Double Summer.
Before that trail, we had a choice from Harry, who appears to be trying to win over the Six Music fan base by playing more and more obscure tunes every week. And that's the second week you've played a track where you said, you can't get hold of it.
Well,
Don't bother.
I did look before I came out, and you can get there quite a few second-hand copies knocking around on the internet. But yeah, the album's called Soft Bomb by the Chills. It was out in 92. It's very good.
We enjoyed it enormously. Thank you very much indeed. My parents are here just for a short time. Quick jet set. They've just come in. If you've got any questions for them, 64046 Stephen.6music@bbc.co.uk. I'm sure my father would be happy to answer, give you an insight into the mind that has given birth to Steve Merchant. Who knows? He's also, he spent a lot of time in the building and plumbing trade. If you've got any perhaps a problem with your boiler, get in touch. 64046. I'm allowed to say that, aren't I? It's not. You're not sort of claiming to be out of work or injured for the DSS or anything. You are currently in work, are you? Okay. So good. Yes, 64046 Stephen.6music@bbc.co.uk. Harry, I know how much you adore French pop sung in English, so you'd have loved that tune by The Train. It's called the song was called The Train, and the band were Tahiti 80, of course. So you've enjoyed that enormously. It's a Steve Show, BBC Six Music with me, Steve Merchant, and my gang Frone is here. Rufus instantly has got a question for my father.
Mr. Merchant, I moved into...
Just call me Ron.
Okay, Ron. I moved into a new house yesterday, and amongst all the bliss of being there with my wife-to-be, we realised that the boiler at the pilot light had gone out. Steve,
dear.
I know, that's a bad problem, isn't it,
That's
to have on your
nasty,
first day in a
yeah.
new house. Steve dropped the hint that you had some knowledge of pilot lights and boilers in general. Can you explain why the pilot light may have gone out?
Well, before I answer that, I must say that to do with anything to do with gas or systems really requires a Corgi registered individual or company to be involved in.
Good
But
work.
You're legally required to say that on the
yeah,
radio.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
So you're saying don't necessarily start to do work yourself on
Correct.
gas boilers?
Absolutely
Okay.
correct. But my first reaction to that question was that it probably is a component called a thermocoupler, which wears out, or it could be just dirty.
Could just be
through-
dirt.
Just
Annoying.
dirt, yes. And it can be adjusted. But I would advise no one to try this at home. Actually, Rufus.
Yeah.
Sorry, Harry's got a follow-up question.
Yeah, I live in a one-bed flat, Ron, and we've got a hot water tank, which is just really inefficient. I'm thinking maybe we could get a combi boiler, free up some space, get rid of the hot water tank. But I'm worried about reliability of combi boilers. Have they got better over the years?
Combi boilers are obviously the latest, but they've been around quite a few years now, and they're obviously what's the government is pushing, condensing boilers, things like this.
Yeah.
And they are very good, but they are prone to more problems than the
that's what I'm
traditional.
worried about.
Yeah. But saying that, I do know a few mates, well, I won't name on air, which I can tell you after we come off air.
Wink,
But there
yeah.
are a few that I would recommend.
Sammy's got a question.
I don't know what system we're running off at home, but I know that when we run the hot tap, it sounds like a loud mechanical fart. Could you tell us why, when we run the hot tap, the whole house seems to have some sort of noisy extrusion like this?
Yes, it's probably something called water hammer. And this is usually due to pipe work being sort of not fixed properly, or it could be a faulty component such as a ball valve in a cistern which wears, and it sets up a sort of a rebound in the system. As you turn something on or off, there's a ripple effect through the water system. It hits the worn out valve and it starts bouncing around in the cistern, and that creates sort of a banging noise. So it may be something you're not actually can see.
That's brilliant. I know for a fact my dad's just written that down word for word, because we've been trying to solve that for ages. Thank you, Ron.
Well, thank you very much indeed. If you've got any plumbing-related queries, then do get in touch. 64046 stephen.6music@bbc.co.uk. You've not got much time, I'm afraid. He's only here for another half an hour. From 1970, Three Dog Night, and I Can Hear You Calling. I'm going to give you guys until after the news to give me what you think may be the reason that the band are called Three Dog Night. I know the answer. I'll allow you the duration of the news to try and figure that out. Harry's already... Yeah, it's what they call a tease in radio. There's no one that won't be joining us after the news to find out the answer to that question.
No matter how bad the news is.
Yeah, the news can be horrific. Let's hope it's not. But I'm hoping it's just about the canoeist.
Well, naturally.
That story's just dynamite, isn't it? I don't know if we can talk about it now because it's all going to court and stuff. But it's the worst scheme ever, isn't it? It's the least thought out plan ever. We'll hide in the attic for 5 years, but what we'll do is we'll have our photo taken and put on a website about 3 years after the event to prove that I'm still alive. It's just... Did you see the headline on the Sun yesterday?
Yeah, The Liar, the Witch and the Wardrobe.
The Liar, the Witch and the Wardrobe.
Absolutely brilliant.
Absolute killer. Brilliant. So yes, keep your questions coming. 64046 stephen.6music@bbc.co.uk. Maybe you're like Rufus, you've just bought yourself a place and you need to ask some plumbing or other building related questions. If you've got any DIY inquiries at all, do get in touch. We'll be back after the news. Cardigans, Rise and Shine on the Steve Show, BBC Six Music with me, Stephen Merchant. We've got Harry here, Super Posh Rufus, Sammy, of course, Crazy Jude pressing the buttons, and also my parents. They've popped in before going back to Bristol, and we welcome them. Before the news, I did a bit of classic DJing. I set you up with a fascinating pop trivia question, which has left everyone musing during the news. There's no way they can switch over to another station as they wait to find out where did the name Three Dog Night come from. It's what everyone's thinking who's listening to the show. Harry, what's your solution?
My theory is in the kebab trade, a kebab shop owner on a very busy night will say, it was a 3 dog night. As in, we got through three dogs,
Okay.
perhaps large ones.
Right.
Is that they released all their records only in 1960 or 1970 or 1980. So when you announce it or back announce it, it's not. That was from 1960, Three Dog Night. You see, and then it sounds like it's 1963, and the band is called Dog Night.
Right.
So they automatically pitch themselves 3 years into the future with every song they record.
Right.
As long as every record is recorded in 1960 or 1970.
That's some kind of like a crazed plan that maybe a Bond villain would come up with.
It is a bit, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe you should expand your role.
I just think about swapping sides in the great film, The Bond
absolutely,
22. The other idea was that it came from an old super posh coat of arms. You were the night of 3, the night of 2 dogs, the night of 2, the night of 2 brave hounds, and one of the drummer for this band was a brave knight of 3 hounds, and then was nicknamed a three dog night by his friends.
Right.
And
it's another great answer. Another unnecessarily complicated but brilliant answer. Sammy, what about you?
Super posh to super common. I was thinking with Christmas parties coming up, people start drinking early in the afternoon, which lengthens your evening. So you've got from maybe 2 or 3 till again 2 or 3 in the morning. If you're very drunk and it's a long night, you might get through 3 very unattractive women. It's a 3 dog night.
3 dog night. Well, it's another solid answer, but I'm afraid that none of them are as fascinating as that. According to the vocalist's then girlfriend, she coined the name for the band when she read about an article, about Indigenous Australians, and apparently on very cold nights they would customarily sleep in a hole in the ground whilst embracing a dingo, a